Hey you guys, how you doing today? So I know I haven't been on here in a while. It's been a while. I've never been this nervous for a video before. It's different because when I talk about other companies, I could be reacting to someone. I could be talking about what I read literature-wise or online, but this is a little bit different though. This is my personal experience with this company, with L'Occitane, and I've been wanting to talk about this for so long because in my true opinion, they did me so dirty. They did me so dirty, so foul, and I never felt like I could ever speak up about it because I didn't see where I could fit it in. You know what I'm saying? If you go by this channel and what I've talked about, and then me just talking about the worst jobs I've ever had, you'd probably be like, it doesn't really synchronize with anything. So I've been sitting on this for a very long time, and when the news came out, and I'm late to the game. I didn't know how late I was, but when I found out that they had become an MLM, I said, now I can talk about it. Now I can talk about it because I have the final puzzle piece for me to say that this company is not a company that should be supported, at least on the ethical side of things, because they portray everything as so ethical and so beautiful and diverse, and everybody is loved and united. And then the way that their employees are treated in stores are way, way different. And I'm going to tell you exactly what happened to me right now. Hey, hot girl, what's up? I'm literally like 2.5 weeks from being full term, so excuse me if I get a little overly emotional. The hormones are just exceeding me today. So in the summer of 2018, my husband and I purchased a home. That is the home that I'm currently in now. One side is going to be my child's nursery. The other side is going to be my office space. That's literally where I'm sitting now. So we purchased this home, and during that time, my husband was the only sole income in the house. I had my own makeup business at the time called Makeup Margaret. However, that had to cease because of health issues and moving to a new environment, having to build a new clientele. Things were very, very slow. I had to literally rebuild myself again, so I wasn't making money on my own. Everything was my husband's salary. If you know me, you know I don't like that. And unpopular opinion, I know, but for me personally, I've never in my life ever wanted to live off of anybody else. I've always wanted to have my own. My mother raised me that way. That's how I am. I wasn't gravitating with anything. I wasn't getting any clientele. Nothing was moving. This is pretty much a very old area. Like, it's kind of hard to get new blood around here. So I needed to make some moves. So I believe it was October of 2018 when I applied for this position. So I was searching online. I noticed that they were hiring. So I said, why not? I have an extensive retail background. I've been a retail manager before. No big deal. I'll put in the application. So I put in the application. I immediately get a call within the next couple of days to schedule an in-person interview. So when I go to my in-person interview with the manager, I noticed that this is somebody that I had known before. She actually was someone that worked at a previous mall that I had frequented the store that she had been a part of. So we already kind of knew each other. So we're sitting there, we're having a great time, kikiing, literally talking like friends. I can't remember if she offered me the job on the spot or she called me a few days later. I want to say she called me a few days later. I want to say that. So I get the job and I am scheduled to start the following week. Okay, so this is like I said, this is a key holder position. It is a supervisor managerial position, a step above an associate, below the store director. So I'm in my position. The first couple of days, I am loving it. I love the products. I love the mission. For those of you that don't know, L'Occitane products are incredible. I must say, they really are incredible. To say that they're an MLM now, you know, a lot of MLM products are trash. I will say I have to put my foot down and say they have to be top tier skin and beauty products at that store. I can't dispute that. I can't dispute that. MLM or not, I can't dispute that. So I'm really loving learning about the culture, learning about the retail process. It was a small store and traffic was pretty steady, so it wasn't anything where I was feeling too overwhelmed. I learned at my own pace. I pick up things pretty quickly in a retail environment, so it was really easy for me to learn the store. And on top of that, she and I really got along. She seemed pretty cool. You know, I was getting married that year. I told her about my wedding, what I was planning, and she was so enthused and just seemed like we really had a good connection. And then the shit hit the fan. And when I say it hit the fan, I look back on it now and I just really think it had to be probably one of the most dehumanizing experiences of my life. Like, seriously, of my life, the way that I was treated by this woman. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, 1000%. So one day in mid-November, I I'm going into work. I'm going into work. I am the second person that is supposed to report to my shift. She is coming in later after me. And as soon as she came in, she was on one. Like, she was already, as soon as she came in the door, she was already mad about something. I picked it up as soon as she came in, but I couldn't pinpoint what went wrong because obviously I don't know your life exterior from here. I just noticed that you're not in a good mood. So me personally, when I notice someone's not in a good mood, I'm gonna leave you alone. I'm gonna leave you alone, let you regroup, and then you can come to me and talk to me if you want to. If not, we'll resume the day as normal. Because one thing they teach you when you work in the retail industry is what? Leave it at the door. And I'm big on that. Leave it at the door. The customer does not need to know that you're going through X, Y, and Z. They don't need to know your personal life. You don't need to take anything out on them. Leave it at the door. You have an image to present. I know that being a retail manager before. So with that, I just left her alone because I was expecting her to decompress before she came back on the floor. So now I'm going to describe to you guys the chain of events that occurred after when she walked in angry to when she finally talked to me. So I'm gonna let you know right now, full disclosure, all of these bullet points I have sent to L'Occitane already. I sent it to the managers, the higher managers at the time, and I don't need the litigation. I have every right to give my point of view though. So let's go. At around 1:23 p.m., blank, who's the manager, let's give her a name, Karen. It's fitting. At around 1:23 p.m., Karen asked me to step into the back office to have a chat with her. I politely accepted, and I did. She sits down in the office chair and she presents me with a step stool to sit down across from her. I'm perplexed, but I'm actively listening. She's immediately cold with me and starts off by saying, "I don't know what has gotten into you, but you better snap out of it now, and I am not the one to play with." So here we go. This woman sits me on a dirty... It was a step stool that hadn't been dusted or cleaned. She sits me down or directs me to sit down. I shouldn't have fucking sat down. She directs me to sit down on this dirty ass step stool, to berate me, to sit above me, and then, in my opinion, threaten me saying I'm not the one to play with. And I have no evidence as to where this is coming from. This is the opening statement. So I'm sitting there shocked, obviously so. Let's continue. Karen says, "You were late today. You were late your last shift and you left early last week." Now hold on. This sounds really bad. That sounds bad. But as always, Margaret got clarity. Now I tried to interject and explain a valid point, but Karen swiftly puts her hand up in my face, puts her hand up, grits her teeth and says, "If you even try to cut me off, you're out." So there goes my voice. Now allow me to say this. Coming from a retail manager background, lateness is always on the employee, and I am not here to deter anyone from thinking that late is acceptable. It is not. However, there is an actual error in this that I would like to point out, which will provide clarity and not excuses. This woman put her hand in my face and said, "If you even try to cut me off, you're out." What did I tell you in the beginning of this video? I told you that I was in big financial restraints at the time. My own business that had made me a decent portion of my income was pretty much ceased at that time. Because at the time, I didn't know if I'd have another opportunity with anyone else, and I have bills. I have bills and responsibilities just like all y'all. And a lot of times when you're already defeated, what's another person just yelling at you, to be honest? So here's the clarity that I was providing about the lateness that she was talking about. Last week, on Sunday, November 18th, 2018. The bathroom in the employee back room was not flushing. The toilet wasn't flushing. I had an urgency, so I had to excuse myself to the upstairs bathroom across from particular store. Upon using the restroom, I foolishly left my engagement ring on the counter of that public bathroom and went downstairs to L'Occitane to continue my shift. At around 10 to 15 minutes in my shift, I realized that my ring is no longer on my finger and I've lost it. I let Karen know I've lost it. She gives me a hug and tells me to go look for it, and I obliged. Twice during my shift, I left to go look for the ring in the bathroom. Now let's stop right there. The bathroom distance from where I was literally a minute walking. Escalator right in front of me. Escalator, you pass up 2 stores, bathroom. I always did it when the store was dead, and I only did it twice. So that's only 2 minutes that I walked out to go to the bathroom to look for the ring, and she gave me the authorization to do so. She told me, oh, go look for it. She said that. I did not ask any questions. I just informed her that it was gone. Now, I informed her because I wanted to call security to let them know to be on the lookout if somebody were to return the ring. Not once did I ask this woman to leave, clock out, and go to the bathroom. She gave me the permission to go look for the ring. Okay. I make it back to L'Occitane after the second interval of looking for my ring at 5:35 p.m. and Karen looks at me and says, I would love to show you how to close, but I know your mind is elsewhere. Why don't you go home, decompress, and come back Tuesday and we start over? I was so grateful and thanked her. We exchanged hugs and I left at 5:45 p.m., which is 15 minutes prior to closing time on Sundays. She tells me to leave the store. Okay, so it's not like I left early. She's telling me when your manager tells you to clock out early, what do? You clock out early. Am I missing something? Am I missing something? Please let me know. Because to me, if your manager tells you clock out early, you clock out early. Yes, my mind was elsewhere. I have a $1,500 ring that I've just lost. My husband spent his whole fucking check at the time on that ring. So yeah, my mind was elsewhere, but I still was working. I still was checking people out. I'm big on not showing the emotion to the customer because they don't need to know my business. I'm told to leave, and then I'm being reprimanded for it the following shift. Okay, so she said in the beginning part, remember she said that I left early and I was late another time. So here's the other point of clarity for that one. She mentioned me being late on my most recent shift, which was Black Friday, and that is false. My shift started at 7:45 and I was in the door at the exact time. We did not open the store until 8. Cameras in blank, which is the store that was across from mine, will show me walking in at the correct time. And my good friend is a security officer at the mall and can present this information as necessary. I always got backup. My homie got my back. Like, he literally could have pulled the tape and showed I walked in at the right time. Now, Karen is getting that information from the other person that was a key holder there, we'll get into her, who was there before me and had already opened the store prior to my 7:45 arrival. She was scheduled to be there at 7:30. I was scheduled to be there at 7:45. It was just me and that other key holder there. Karen, who's the manager that's yelling at me, was yelling at me saying how late I was, but she wasn't there and received the information from another associate, who's a key holder, without asking me first. I do not have a key code to back up my time, but cameras can't be wrong. So what essentially happened here is that the manager, the store manager, she had a buddy. Okay, how many of us know managers like that? They always have a buddy that likes to rat on people, but the thing is, you couldn't rat on me if I was there at the right time. Like, this one ain't biting the cheese, bitch. I was there at the correct time, okay? So you're getting that I'm late. You didn't ask me what time I came in. You are chastising me saying I was late because you listened to the other associate that was there. The key holder comes in, the messy key holder that lied on me. I come in at 7:45. Key holder was there at 7:30. She comes in a little bit later, I think around 10 o'clock. Okay? I don't know if the key holder had texted her and lied or if they had talked and I wasn't aware while I was there. I have no idea. But you get the information from her instead of coming to the employee themselves and asking them, hey, would you mind telling me what time did you come in today? And would you mind if I verified that with security? You see my big black ass walking in there, I can't lie. Like, yeah, go ahead, verify it. But that didn't happen, did it, Karen? No, that didn't happen. You took the name of the associate that was already messy and nobody really cared for, in my opinion, and you decide to run with it, to use it to chastise me like I'm a child, when you could have just asked me yourself. I didn't even have a key code to back up the time, because when you put the key code in the computer, obviously you sign in and clock in and it gives the clock hour. I didn't have a key code, but we're gonna get into that too. Oh,
I'm going to labor.
so she mentions that I had snapped at a customer that I had just had that same day. I give them the transaction time and I had to use Karen's code because I did not have my own code. The code that Karen gave me to use at the register. Now this client bought $80 worth of items and I told them they could look her up. When I tried to ask the manager what I said to this client, Karen quickly snaps back and threatens not to interject the conversation. I obliged, but this is far-fetched. It's so far-fetched because the woman and myself had a great conversation about her friends, pets, and mentioning to her about an eco-friendly program she knew nothing about, but she was intrigued. At the time, I believe L'Occitane had it to where if you returned, kind of like Lush, I think when you return anything used, like a used bottle or casing or whatever, you get 10% off your next purchase or something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but I believe that that's what the program was. And the woman was like literally a dump, like, I want to say dumpster. A woman was big in recycling. Like she was telling me about how she would use plastic cups to make all these different types of artwork. So when she told me that in talking, I told her about our eco-friendly program that we had at the time. That doesn't sound like a client that had a poor rapport with a key holder. That sounds like a really good conversation to me. But again, you didn't ask me. You make assumptions based off of what? Let's continue. So when the customer left, I walked her on the cash wrap, gave her the items, and thanked her so much for coming to our store. She quickly said, "Thank you for taking the time to help me shop when I'm so indecisive." Now this is where I'm calling them out. If there's a camera to show outside the store, the warm exchange that we had, you'd see how thrilled I was to help this customer. Please feel free to reach out to her and ask her about the experience with L'Occitane, because I know in my heart she had a great one. I gave them the time to look it up. I gave them the key code. She even signed up for our email rewards. And with that, I think you would need their first and last name, their phone number, and their email. Those are what? 3 ways you could contact a client? Literally 3 ways so you could validate the interaction and you could check on the customer experience. So how was I rude to this customer? Or were you just grasping in straws? This woman also says, not that I just snapped at a customer, but that I also snapped at my fellow employee. Now, I'm a key holder. This girl that she's talking about was a seasonal associate. This girl was honestly one of the kindest people I have ever met in the retail environment. She was truly, truly one of a kind. We're gonna give her the name Carla. So Karen mentioned that I snapped at Carla, my fellow associate who was on the floor with me at the time. She comes in later that day. So there are 4 of us in the store. The key holder that decided to open her big mouth, Karen, me, Carla. So she's telling me that I snapped and I was rude to Carla. She quickly tells me to apologize to her for being so rude. Once my grill session was over with Karen, I quickly went over to Carla and I said, "I am so sorry for whatever I did. Did I offend you? Was there something I could have done differently? I am so big on constructive criticism. Is there something that I could have done differently? Did I come off wrong? I am so apologetic. I apologize. I truly do." Carla looked at me and said, "Margaret, what are you talking about? What is wrong?" I said, "Karen just pulled me into the office and she's very upset with the way that I spoke to you. And again, I'm so sorry." Carla replies, "I don't even know what she's talking about and you didn't even hurt my feelings." So where is this coming from, Karen? I talked to the associate and I'm like, I'm just saying, I'm sorry. What can I do different? What did I do to hurt you? I'm so sorry. She and I decided to leave it alone. And then Karen calls me in for ding ding round 2. And she tells me, "You are not a key anymore. You are seasonal. Don't you ever undermine me. And when you are supposed to apologize and have this nerve to ask her, did I offend you?" So I can't even ask someone, did I offend you with whatever I did? And what did I do wrong? I guess that's a harsh statement to make. I didn't know how offensive that could be to ask someone if my behavior was offensive and what could I do differently, and ask them for the criticism to do better next time. But the thing is, there was no criticism that had to be given because I didn't do anything. And the associate verified that. When I remember this girl's face, dude, and she's looking me head on, and she's like she looks like the troll, like she looks like straight in my face, like, bro, like, what are you talking about? Like, everything is cool. The only thing that day that I can say I remember I could have maybe perceived wrong, or she could have, is because there were 2 gift wrapping stations and hers was out, and I was trying to check out this client and I couldn't get mine out. So she's like, oh, do you need help? I said, nah, girl, I got it. That is the only interaction that I remember having with her, because we worked independently. You work on a client, I say client, but customer. You work on a customer, I work on a customer. And I literally said, nah, girl, I got it. I don't know how that's rude, but okay. And even she looked at me like, what the hell? She didn't even go to the manager to complain. Like, it's lunacy. It's lunacy. So I tell the upper manager that I'm sending this email to, I'm unsure how my approach is wrong. Nothing offensive took place. And I basically told her that I would never want another employee to feel like I would hurt them on purpose. And I know what a bully is, and that is not me. And that isn't me. I'm not a bully. I'm a strong person, and I have a lot on my mind, and I'm not afraid to say how I feel. I can be direct, but I'm no bully. A bully does not care about anybody's emotional regard. I care about people's emotional regard. That's why the content I used to produce, I put a halt on, because I wanted to make sure I was taking care of people's emotional regard, regardless if I agreed with them or not. And I took a big hit for that. A really big hit. This is the next point. The manager, Karen, is starting to scream in my face, as if putting her hand in my face wasn't good enough. She goes, you do not use my code while I'm not here. And then again, wags her fucking hand in my face. Sorry. This is an understandable point due to the fact that my code had not come in. However, Karen is the one that gave me her code on her day off and told me to use it until mine came in. This is on Loxy 10. You guys did not give me a code. You guys did not give me a code on my orientation for me to use to log into the system. So how are we supposed to electronically check our customers if there is no code, not even a training code to be used in the system? The manager herself gave me the code. How else will I have it? Anybody that knows retail knows one thing, and what's that, mommy? You know that your code is literally like your social security number when you're working. When you work, you are not supposed to give your code to anybody, because they can clock in, clock out for you, do your break, all that. Which is lying, which can be stealing time, which is really bad on a company. And that's not what I was doing. This woman authorized me to use it because I didn't have one. And I wonder why. Either she didn't send in the paperwork on time, or Loxy 10 is just really slow with their process. But that's not my fault. If customers have to be rang up, what am I supposed to do? I use what is given to me, what is told to use. I wouldn't know the code if someone didn't give it to me to use. I followed up in the email and said I did as I was told. So if anything looks suspicious as far as her code being used when she was not present, that is 100% on me. But I was also doing as I was told per my first POS conversation, which is point of sale, the machine you use, with her. I used her code from her to ring up our guests. I was not informed of timings of when to do so. Basically, well, when do you not want me to use it? And then what can I use? That was the only leverage that I had to make sure that people could get rung up, because I thought the purpose of retail was so we can ring up our customers and make some money. Now, this is the only credible point. This is the only credible point, and I will raise my hand up, and I could have excluded this. I'm not going to, because I want you to see this is one thing that I did do wrong. This is one thing I did do wrong. The last point that Karen made was me leaning down behind the cash wrap to stretch while checking something on my phone, but no guests were there in the store. She's completely right that I should not have been doing that, and if I have to stretch my back, I should have excused myself to the break room. So let me explain this, a back room. So let me explain. We were allowed to use our phones if nobody was present. If no one's there, shelves are stocked. If you just want to check the time, send a text to somebody, whatever, that was not frowned upon because everything in the store was taken care of. And to idly stand is, a little boring. So the cash wrap is in front of me. I would do it in front of you now, but I have nothing to lean over, and I'm very pregnant, so I'm scared I'm gonna fall. But what I did was I leaned forward, okay? And then I leaned back. I leaned back and I had my hands behind my back, and then I leaned forward again. I did this motion. I literally remember. I did this motion. I have flat feet. My back hurts a lot. So I was stretching out because retail is really hard on my feet. Now, all that aside, I should have just went in the back room and stretched. Point blank period. I should have just went in the back room and stretched, because she actually does have a point. If someone were to walk by and they see somebody just leaning forward, even if they caught me for the 2 seconds I was doing it, they're gonna say, ooh, you know, there's probably a little lazy in that store, you know? And everything is about how everything looks. Just like how you should leave the emotions at the door, it's also about presentation, as I've said before. So in that quick moment, that could have been a defining factor whether someone were to walk in the store or not, depending on the presentation from the employee. So I actually do 100% agree with that. I should have just excused myself for the 5 seconds and done the motion back there, then come back refreshed, ready to continue to be a key holder in this environment. So I send all of this to her, and here is a quick screenshot of the email. This is the manager that was above her. She says, "Hi Margaret, I hope you're doing well. I wanted to follow up with you in the issue in the name of the mall. I am traveling with the retail director this week. However, I will have time tomorrow around 11 to 11:30 to talk before we continue with the store tours. Please let me know if this works with your schedule." I reply, "Yes, I will be available at the time. Thanks for getting back to me. I will await the phone call." So we have the phone call. I expressed my concerns with this woman about the email that I had sent, about the harassment, how I didn't feel really safe no longer in the store because of how I was treated. And let me explain what I mean. I'm not somebody that easily scurries from anybody, okay? I did that enough as a kid. I'll be damned if I do that shit as an adult, all right? So I'm a real strong person. However, I don't hope, but if you know what it's like to work under a manager that you feel like hates you, it is not a safe feeling on the inner side, the peace. It is not a peaceful feeling. It is a very ruptured, toxic, scary environment. I don't know how else to put it, because you know that you need your money at the end of the day. And that's all that was on my mind. I actually did not want to leave the store. I didn't want to leave the store. I wanted them to do what was right. And what was right was, honestly, in my opinion, terminating the manager that did this to me. And let me explain why. If you are, as a company, priding yourself on ethics, treating people right from the corporate level down to the customer, if you are trying to bridge that gap to make sure that everybody is taken care of, that also means inside your stores. Things should always align with your mission. Your mission statement is not bullshit that you just put out. It's something that you should all abide by, from me to the highest person in the goddamn company, okay? So the fact that this woman could sit me down on a stool with accusations, not facts, not asking me a single question, not asking me how I felt about anything, no type of evaluation, look me in the face, whack her hand in my face, threaten me, okay? Threaten me. Oh, if you cut me off, you're out. Where's the voice in that? Where is the voice in that? Where is the opportunity for the person that is beneath them to say something? When I say beneath, not as a person, because I'm better than that woman will ever be. I'm talking about as an employee. As a manager, you are a leader. You have a responsibility to make sure that your store is in order, and that includes making sure that your employees are satisfied. If they are unsatisfied, ask them. Sometimes it's a fault of theirs, because whatever they're going through, they're bringing inside the store. Sometimes people are freaking lazy and they don't do the work. Margaret is neither one of those things. Margaret went to work every shift on time. Margaret went to work, ready to work, ready to take care of business, ready to take care of my family that was struggling at the time. I expressed all of this treatment. And the thing that got me the most was the stool. The irony of being told to sit on this dirty step stool. Something you use to step on to get to the next level, to get to the next height. It was already beratement from the beginning. The imagery itself is beratement. So I'm sitting on this stool, which had to be, the chair that I'm sitting on right now is, I think, level to where her chair was. And then imagine that I'm like somewhere right here. So this right here is the conversation. She had to look down at me to talk to me. I don't hate many people, but I hate this woman. I hate this woman. And I explained all of this to Loxy 10. Even when she and I, the district manager, and I had a conversation, I explained to her all of this and more information. The only reason I can't include that information now is because I legally do not have it written down to back up. So I would have to say allegedly. But that didn't allegedly happen. It didn't allegedly happen. I witnessed and I heard this with my own 2 ears. When I tell you that it was a corrupt system with no heart of ethics from the very beginning, I hope you understand me when I say that. I hope you understand me when I say that. 3 years later, okay? 3 years later, and it still makes me mad because there's a part of me that knew I should have just said, fuck you, and walked out. And I didn't. I didn't because I let my financial situation get a hold of me at that time. Sometimes you can't put your pride before money because at the end of the day, you need the money to put the gas in your car so you can come home and be mad. You see what I'm saying? The money is always going to be the benefactor. The money is always going to be what you're looking at. I didn't want to lose my job. I was good at my job. I actually think if things would have went correctly, even with the store finances itself, I probably would have still been there for a long time because I loved what I did. I loved interacting with people. But this is the kicker. That didn't matter. None of that mattered. None of the ethics involved in this ever mattered because there was none. There was none. It took me 2.5 to 3 weeks, and I even threatened litigation. Again, I can't get too far into that because I didn't document that here. I went deep into this and I was really ready to fight it. I'm not even kidding. I was ready to get outside finances. I really wanted to fight this company. And then they hit me with the last nail. They asked me to leave. They asked me to leave, even though I showed up on time and they could prove that with those cameras. Even though I had an amazing rapport with those customers, they could prove that we're verifying the visits. Even though I went above and beyond to help fellow associates even when I was new. Whatever I picked up on, I couldn't wait to show somebody else, especially if the manager wasn't present. I am not someone that's great at everything, but one thing I'm damn good at is making sure that people are happy in their environment. That goes from customer to my fellow associate. How many people have you worked with in your life that you could say have given you a lending hand? I bet you remember those people. And I bet you also remember the people that treated you like shit. This is a great mixture of both. A great mixture of both. And she was able to keep her job, even though there were other people that were just as qualified there to have that position, even though there were people there that were there longer than her that didn't treat people like that. Even the woman that tried to rat on me, she would have been probably a better manager than that woman. I wonder how I know that, but again, can't say too much about that because I didn't have it documented. They knew what happened with me, and all they can tell me was, we really appreciate your time with Loxy 10. And I wasn't on the no hire list. And that was my validation. I wasn't on the no hire list, and they really valued me as an employee, and they kept this woman in charge. I would only say to that, what did she do to the next person that came in? Did they even report it? Because I went through so many channels just to get to the higher ups that I even got to, and I couldn't even make anything happen. So obviously when someone is asked to leave or terminated, I guess, you have to fill that slot. How was that person treated? That's a question that I always had in the back of my mind, was who did they replace me with, only for the simple fact of I wouldn't want it to happen to anybody else. I don't know what she was on that day, and I'm not saying that as far as using, I'm saying that as far as I literally don't know what was on her mind to come in and just choose violence and wreck me emotionally. And when I say wreck me emotionally, I did not work from that point on until April of the following year because I was so scared of beratement again. I didn't want to put myself in a bind where I would have to then go through something else with another manager like that, being spoken to like that. I wish I could just show you a picture of how everything looked. Okay, it's just me and her in this cram corner and her looking down at me. That is a feeling I wouldn't want to feel ever again. Ever again. And I truly do mean that. It just put a hold, and with that treatment, I guess you could say, I don't want to say PTSD because it's a little extreme, but it put a hold on me. It really emotionally messed me up as far as working. My husband, luckily at the time, after Christmas, he was eligible for a raise. Things did get a little better. I ended up starting my YouTube channel. I think it was the following year. 2020 I started my YouTube channel. So 19, my makeup business picked up during the prom months, and things just kind of accelerated from there. Me starting esthetician school, and I kind of got my feet back. But I did not work really at all 2019 as far as like W-2 wise, like under someone. It was just me trying to make things work. So with that said, that is my experience with L'Occitane as a company. Now let's get into the MLM portion, because this to me puts everything together. I mean, it is just like the perfect sandwich, girl. This is the B, L, and the T, just everything together. So let me get to my list. You have to put my grandma glasses back on. So we have the B, that's the bacon, that's my story. Let's get to the lettuce, and that is going to be the MLM portion. So I am a little late to this party. I did not know that L'Occitane had started an MLM. It was, I believe, announced in June. I'll put the article up here where they announced that they were going to get into the direct selling market. So let's look at the website for L'Occitane, okay? All right, so here we have at the top, my L'Occitane home, join us, our products, our story, community. Wonderful. And then in their motto at the top is beauty with respect for people and nature. Now the nature part that got down packed, the respect for people, I don't know about that, especially when you keep people like that employed with your business, but okay. So here we go, the start your business today. This doesn't look like anything we've ever seen before. You can start as a L'Occitane consultant for only $49. That now is actually fair across the board with MLMs. Usually it's $99. But with this, you get a packet of samples to start your business. I can't think of anything more reputable than to walk around with as a business owner than with just straight samples for you and the client. So that's very smart. They say they'll be a part of a purposeful mission. So they say L'Occitane represents so much more than premium multi-sensorial products, beauty products, and well-being experiences. When you become a part of our community, either through a customer or enrolling as a consultant, you are joining hands with a diverse group of people respectfully committed to one another, to nature, and to our world. They tell you you can build an impactful business. I'm not going to give them more time than they need. The business kit for samples, because again, I guess that's good. It starts at $49. To the new consultant experience, which actually gives you a full array of products, that one is $200. And that to me seems like, you know, more smart. I mean, like actually getting to use the products, getting your hands on it, you know, get the shower gel, the lotion, really get a feel for it. But yeah, $200 to start the business with actual product. So that in essence is what they are offering to people to become consultants with them. And I do not have a income disclosure to show you about my L'Occitane because it just premiered this summer. And with income disclosures, as you well know, you need a full year one analysis to be able to show if there were gains or losses. And how that would work with them, I would assume, is that if there were any losses, it would be obviously the investment that they put in to make a direct selling company versus the money that they made having a direct selling company. But that's interesting to me because no one's talking about this really. Like, if anything, it was just me getting pissed off with an article and I just had to share, because I'm looking at this and it doesn't look like the business is really, it's not exploding. It's not, to me, you know, and I could be wrong because I don't see those back office metrics, but to me, it doesn't look like it's exploding. I found out about this actually through Raw Beauty Christy, which is kind of funny. Love her so much. So why go for the MLM structure? Why do businesses all of a sudden, they do retail, they do well with e-commerce,
allegedly,
and then they go for the direct selling market? Well, I'm not saying, you know, karma. I wouldn't say that. That's rude. But, you know, 11 and 13 have always been my favorite numbers. Fun fact about me. My mom, her favorite number was 13. She was born on the 13th, and she, for whatever reason, she just loved Friday the 13th. And then for me, I've always had good luck with 11. Like, I always see 11, 11. I love a series of ones. You know, I'm not a big numerology person, but those are my two favorites. And, you know,
let's go.
I had to be a little petty for a moment. But yeah, seriously, they filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy in January of this year, in 2021. They've closed a decent amount of stores. Actually, the store that I was working at that I told you about has closed down. So that's in a very, very high profile, big money district. So that's really surprising. But yes, they did close down. And my assumption with the place that I worked at, I don't think they kept up with the overhead where they were. So with that, obviously, if you're not meeting that mark, you're not doing well as a business because you're not even breaking even. And I assume that to be the reason why they had to close that place down. I could be completely wrong. Maybe that manager I worked with just reared her ugly head and then spit fire everywhere and burned the place down. I have no idea. But at any rate though, when you are closing stores, you probably aren't doing that well. You need to kind of save your infrastructure. You need to kind of save your finances. And I would assume that with closing stores and filing Chapter 11 bankruptcy, you're probably scrambling because everything starting to come down a little bit, huh, girlfriend? Starting to come down pretty hard. Why? L'Occitane is a public company. And it is on the stock market. You can purchase stock now to be a part of L'Occitane. I don't know if it's L'Occitane Business Group or L'Occitane as far as a subset for the L'Occitane company itself. Because L'Occitane, the group, I don't know if you know this, but they own Hermes, Lime Life, a whole bunch of stuff under there, including the MLM now. So when you are going through all these financial restraints, you want to keep your shareholders happy. And in my opinion, maybe the shareholders weren't too happy. And then when that happens, you really got to scramble because you ain't got a pot to piss in at that point, girlfriend. So it seems like they opted for a direct selling market. And why would that be, Margaret? Oh, I'm glad you asked, Lucy. The reason why they probably opted for a direct selling market is because you cut your losses. You cut your loss and you give it to the middleman that would happen to be the distributor. You see, they're the ones that are going to make the investment. $49 for a pack of samples that costs a cent to make for each one. Baby, they are banking on that. And someone would think, oh my God, $49 and I have a whole business to myself. A whole lot of people are going to jump on that. Because in our society, unfortunately, a lot of people do not have a lot of money, but damn near everybody has a dream. Okay? So you see $49 and you think your life is going to excel. Yeah, give me them samples, girl. Let me see what I can do with this. You know what I'm saying? So they probably gravitated to those samples thinking that that was going to make them be something. And L'Occitane gets to keep pretty much after taxes, I would assume, what, $38? Something around there. I don't know how euros work really. I live in the US. But they keep a decent amount of money. And all they had to do was give you samples. You see how that works? Everybody wants that. They continue to make money. The shareholders make money. The company continues to level up. And there is no loss with that. There is no loss with that. The only person that loses is the person that tries to build a team because they realize how hard the MLM structure is. Keep in mind, we say this all over anti-MLM channels, and I know people get tired of hearing it, but it's true. You're in that 90th percentile to lose money, lose your investment. They will always bank. So one way to save your ass when you're in hot water is to start a direct selling company because the loss is going to be on the distributor, not the company. Not the company until they eventually get caught up in a pyramid scheme lawsuit. But, you know, I ain't talking about nobody. But all I'm saying is that they found a smart business way to, in my opinion, screw the consumer again. Especially the people that have that dream, but not a lot of money. So given what I went through, right, that's the bacon, okay? We're making our BLT, so that's the bacon. And then them filing Chapter 11 this year, okay, that's the L. Literally, the L. And the T, okay, the T and the T girl. That is them creating a direct selling market because it costs almost nothing to become a shareholder with them now. So, with that, you do what you want. Girl, I thought I was gonna be miserable this whole video, girl. I'm tired of these people. I've been wanting to say this shit for the long. I feel so good. I feel so good getting this off my chest. The treatment that I had with this woman in this company, the way they disregarded me, and now looking at what's happening, it's not like in the sense of like, oh, karma, because I don't want anyone to fail, especially the people that are going to sign up for this and think it's a great business opportunity. I don't want anybody else to get screwed, and I really do mean that. But you shouldn't have messed with me. Let me make sure these people plummet. But wow. Wow. But this, I wouldn't say it's karma, honestly, because the company was probably failing even when I was with them. I have no idea. Again, never seen that back office report. Kind of scared to. I'll put up right here the analysis of what they claim to be their year-to-date financial structure. I'm not well versed in euros, so I don't know the currency difference between what they are showing in their expenditures versus USD dollar. But I will put that up here for you guys to review. That is also public record. And just to say too, L'Occitane, if anyone from the company just so happened to be watching this video, I sincerely want you guys to treat people with respect at your remaining stores. Take what I went through seriously. Go through your archives. You can find the emails for yourselves. And don't send me anything talking about, don't talk about this, because I can talk about whatever I want on my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I really appreciate you guys as always. My name is Margaret Angel. It'll be amazing if you consider subscribing. I'm here when I can be. But I'm going to holler at you guys later. Have a good one.
Peace.